Most people think ADHD is only a brain based condition. We hear about dopamine, genetics, and neurochemistry, and while those are all real factors, there's another piece of the puzzle that's just as powerful and often overlooked. ADHD can also be deeply shaped by childhood experiences. When we talk about childhood adversity, we're not just talking about the big, obvious traumas. We're talking about things like ongoing conflict at home, emotional neglect, living in a chaotic or unpredictable environment, a parent struggling with mental illness or substance abuse, or even chronic stress that a child's nervous system just isn't equipped to handle. These are called adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, and research shows that they can have a profound impact on brain development. Studies show that kids who go through high levels of these adverse experiences are up to 3.5 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD compared to kids who don't. And when a child experiences 4 or more of these stressors, the risk doesn't just increase a little, it skyrockets. In fact, one large Swedish study found that kids with 4 or more adverse events had a 450% higher risk of ADHD compared to those with none. And here's one of the most striking things about this research is that it's dose dependent. That means that it's not all or nothing. Every additional adverse experience raises the risk about 21%. So the more stressors a child faces early in life, the more likely ADHD symptoms are to develop or to become more severe. So why does this happen? Well, chronic stress early in life doesn't just affect emotions, it literally changes the way the nervous system and the brain are wired. When a child is constantly in survival mode, the brain prioritizes threat detection over focus, over emotional regulation, and over impulse control. The stress response system called the HPA axis becomes overactive. Dopamine signaling, which is already different in ADHD, gets disrupted even further, and the areas of the brain responsible for executive function and self-regulation don't develop the same way. This is what makes ADHD so much more than just a simple dopamine deficiency or a genetic trait. It's an interaction between biology and environment. For some kids, that combination of genetics and early stress creates the perfect storm for ADHD to develop or to become more severe. Now, I want to pause here because this isn't about blame. Parents don't create ADHD out of thin air. And this research isn't here to point fingers. What it really highlights is how much the early environment shapes a child's nervous system and how important safety and regulation are for healthy brain development. So what does this mean for treatment? It means that if we're only focusing on the brain in isolation, we could be missing a huge piece of the picture. ADHD isn't just about neurotransmitters, it's about the entire nervous system. That's why healing the nervous system and creating a felt sense of safety are just as critical as any medication, supplement, or behavioral strategy. When I work with kids who have ADHD, this is always a part of the conversation. How can we calm the nervous system that's been stuck in survival mode? How can we create a stable, predictable environment that communicates safety to the brain? That might include things like somatic practices, breath work, or even simple changes in routine that can help a child feel more grounded. When you combine that with targeted nutrition, lifestyle changes, and when needed, medication, you can get much deeper and longer lasting results. If you're a parent hearing this and recognizing some of these patterns in your own child, the takeaway here isn't panic, it's hope. Because what this research also tells us is that the brain is incredibly plastic. It can change when we create safe, consistent, supportive environments and combine them with the right interventions. We can help the brain and nervous system rewire in ways that dramatically improve focus, emotional regulation, and resilience. And if you're an adult with ADHD, you might be recognizing parts of your own story in this. Maybe you grew up in a chaotic environment or experienced early stress. Understanding that connection isn't about blaming your past, it's about giving yourself context and compassion. It's also a reminder that it's never too late to heal the nervous system. Safety, regulation, and support can shift the way your brain focuses even decades later. So what are adverse childhood experiences exactly? The original ACE study looked at 10 categories of adversity: physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, physical or emotional neglect, living with a caregiver who struggles with mental illness, addiction or incarceration, domestic violence in the home, and losing a parent through separation or divorce. Each one of these experiences adds stress to a child's nervous system, and when they stack up, they can fundamentally alter how the brain develops. And remember, this doesn't mean every child who goes through adversity will develop ADHD or that every case of ADHD is caused by trauma. It means that there's a powerful connection between the two. Genetics loads the gun, but environment can pull the trigger or keep it from ever going off. This is why ADHD treatment has to be holistic. We can't just throw stimulants or supplements at the brain and hope for the best. We have to address the entire system, the brain, the body, and the environment. That's where the real transformation happens. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more natural mental health tips. And if you're ready to take the next step and work with me one-on-one to address ADHD naturally, whether for yourself or for a child, click the link in the description to book a discovery call with me. We'll go over your specific situation and create a personalized plan to support focus, emotional regulation, and overall brain health.